Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 28 of the Void Frogs podcast. My name is Stiflert, and I am joined once again by my co-host, the Q Magnet, and two special guests.
Once there was nothing, and out of the nothing came the cube. The cube multiplied and became the flat world of Java as we knew it. For an age, the world thrived, with damage values and NBT, but then a new pocket world appeared. And the makers of maps were divided. Then the pocket world evolved into the Bedrock world. Chaos ensued, corruption, the Java world was flattened. The makers of maps could not coexist. It seemed like the end was near, but one day, the giant arrived. He was gentle, and with him a pod. The giant took the pod, shot it into the void, and the void returned with the amulet. Today we uncover the truth of this amulet. Please welcome to the Void Frogs podcast, with the longest intro we've ever done, the amulet development team, Podshot and gentlegiantJGC.
Hello.
We got them, boys. Welcome.
That was the longest intro we've ever done.
Yeah, I think it is. I saw it here on the page. I'm like, dude, you've taken up most of our notes.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Any last words, folks?
That's it. We've got Podshot. I keep wanting to say Podshot GG. Yeah, a league of,
Yeah.
You guys know Hotshot GG. And
We got the gentle Podshot.
and then we've got Gentle Giant JGC. Podshot. Well, okay. So we mentioned the giant first. Gentle Giant. Can you just say hello to everybody so that they can know your voice?
Hello.
Thank you. That's all we get.
You only did 1/3 of the words required.
Gentle Giant JGC.
Say hello to everybody.
Yeah. There's that dad joke.
He's
That's
speechless.
great.
All right.
That's great.
I don't talk that much.
Hey, we'll get you talking. We'll get
I'm
you
sure
talking.
you will, yeah.
That's our job. That's our job. Podshot, can you say hello so everybody knows who you are?
Hello, everyone.
Oh, there, look at that.
Close. That was 2/3. The other one was hello to everyone.
Is that dad joke again? I'm gonna put some points in the background. Welcome, gentlemen, to...
No, you want to go... Cheers. Audience is loving the comedy.
That's right.
Best written jokes of 2020.
We don't need
Void
to put
Frogs
in...
podcast.
We don't need to put in cheers because the people will be already cheering. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. Podshot and Gentle Giant JGC of the Amulet-Editor team here on the podcast. This is great. I'm excited. We're going to nerd out. We're going to be talking about programming and GitHub and development languages, Python, C#, and all types of good stuff. But before we get into that, I already asked you guys if you could just say hi. But can you go into a little bit more, and then we're going to jump into our questions of everything about you, your entire lives. But can you just start off, tell us, Gentle Giant, for you, just tell everybody who you are and like what you do, like what's going on. Just a brief couple sentences for us.
I'm Gentle Giant JGC. My proper name is James. I do programming for Amulet. I've started with pair programming with MC-Edit filters and have grown from there. Learned Python pretty well, and now I'm helping develop Amulet so that everyone can use some kind of editor for Minecraft and the multiple different versions for the newer board formats.
Brilliant. Awesome. And Podshot, how about you? Can you give us a little taste of what we're going to experience later on in the show?
Is it strawberry flavored? I hope so.
Like strawberries.
My name's Ben. I am also one of the programmers on Amulet. I also conveniently started out programming in MC-Edit filters, and then kind of worked my way with familiarity of Python, and eventually hopped onto this project. So
Excellent.
You guys are speaking a lot of words that, like last time we had like role players and we've had entertainers, and you guys are bringing out these crazy words like Python. We ain't talking about snakes. You're bringing out
Monty Python.
MC Edit.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this stuff is going to be new for some people who are listening to. So why don't you guys, I don't know who's going to take this, but somebody's got to explain what exactly is Amulet. What is the purpose of it? Why are you on the show? We want to talk about this amulet, but what is it? What do you do with it?
Who wants to take this? Do you want to take it, Ben?
Yeah. So Amulet's a program made by us, obviously, that allows you to edit your worlds, your Minecraft worlds, without actually using the game. So this allows you to place large amount of blocks without needing to like click your mouse every time. But we also, with Java, Bedrock, and all these like different platforms that the game runs on now available, Amulet's also a converter on top of that, where you can take worlds from Java, convert them into roughly equivalent Bedrock. Obviously, there's different things with Java and Bedrock that may not fully transfer over, but it basically allows you to not only move your map across there, but for map makers, it allows them to have they can work in either version they want, and then when they're done with their process, convert it over to another platform. So then it gives them a little more flexibility on what they like to work in, and then also still have that ability to have a wider audience by releasing it for 2 versions instead of 1.
Do you have any idea how long I have been waiting for a tool that just does all of that so well? I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that you guys exist. Just first and foremost, I actually wrote a little thing about Amulet-Editor. I think it's coming up on like 2 years ago now, or a year and a half.
Yeah,
year,
it was
year and a half.
2 years ago that we announced it, wasn't it? I think we were working on it a bit beforehand.
And I was
about 3 months before.
So excited, and I've had to wait so long. You guys pick up the pace. Come on.
when we announced it at Minecon, we didn't even have any window showing up. It was purely just you would click a run button for like code, and it would just say like, "Yep, here's a 1.12 world. Here's the blocks in it. Here's a 1.13 world. Here's a blocks in it." And that's really all we had.
The last 6 months that we've had the actual UI going.
Yeah.
Before then, I think it was only able to actually load the Java 1.13 worlds. It wasn't really able to do anything else.
Yeah, it didn't have conversion for at least a year, probably, or I'd say about a year.
There's a lot of things you need to do before you can get to that stage.
I really want to get into that. I really want to talk about that stuff and get like so technical that nobody listens to the rest of the show.
Oh my God.
However,
I'm gonna reel it in. You're like, well, what's a McEdit? I don't know. I didn't try that sandwich at McDonald's.
Yeah, that's right.
This podcast brought to you by Mick and it.
That's right. Let's bring it back. Let's get over. Q has some questions that he normally likes to start us off with. That hopefully help everybody introduce you and get to know you.
Yes.
Come on, Q, bring us in.
And I will reel it in because if you're out there and you're a fan of our past guests and you don't know what this programming stuff is and gets too technical, I will help you because it goes technical for me too. Anyway, before we get into all of that stuff, we like to go over a little history of you guys. We looked into your YouTube channels, your bank account numbers. It's kind of low there, Podshot. You got to start bringing in some more cash. Anyway, we want to go over your names. Obviously not your real names. Podshot, you mentioned your real name. But everybody, well, maybe almost everybody comes up with an online character. Usually YouTube maybe hasn't involved, but for their Minecraft person. And we like to hear the story behind that. So why don't we start with Gentle Giant. Where do you come up with the Gentle Giant name?
So I had to pick it. I had to pick a name for Xbox Live on the Xbox years ago now.
Xbox. Everyone's like,
Xbox 360.
Xbox.
Not the original one. Yeah, I needed to pick a name, so I'm a pretty tall person, and I'm a pretty relaxed person, and
Mhm.
I sort of just took some words that described that and stuck my initials at the end. Is the simple answer.
So it's actually JGC, not Jiggick.
Yeah.
Because I would just wanted to clarify it wasn't Jiggick. Unless it's a soft C, Jiggis. You never know.
That's right. I saw a question on Twitter last night, and since you're tall, I need to know because I'm not tall. The question on Twitter was, for all of you tall people, do you see how dusty the tops of our fridges are? You know what I'm talking about?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. So
if I tippy toe it, yes, I can definitely see the top.
we need to, us short people need to start cleaning off the tops of our fridges, I think. Because I'm afraid
it does entertain me when I come across someone who's like half a foot taller than me, and I'm just like, how on earth are you that tall? I guess this is what it feels like to be small.
No, that is very tall.
Okay, now wait. Because this was also on the list. We'll get into Podshot in a minute, but how tall is the gentle giant? I think everyone wants to know that.
6'3".
Oh my god! And you're not a basketball player?
No.
Come on, man. I thought that was like a given. Like, oh, you're a fridge duster. Got that spot for you.
It turns out that this is a really soft spot for him. That he's been bullied his whole life for being tall, and now we're having him on the show and bullying him some more. My goodness.
Would have been awkward if I'd picked that name and ultimately wasn't particularly tall once I grew it up.
Oh, that would be amazing. I wish. Okay.
Excellent.
Podshot. Where's the shot in the pod and the pod's shots of pods and 2 peas in a pod shot out of a gun? I don't know. Where's that name come from?
So it came from a mobile game, kind of like World of Warcraft, called Pocket Legends, and I needed to create an account, and I was just like, oh, I don't know what name to pick. So I just clicked the random generate button that they had until it came up with Podshot and then a whole bunch of numbers, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I deleted the numbers, and lo and behold, it wasn't taken, and I've stuck with it since.
That's actually really nice. Podshot is that's a good name.
Yeah. I've been confused with an old map maker or Pod Crash a few times. People are like, oh, I love your maps. I'm like, I don't make maps.
No, you should say, thank you very much. Please send your donation to this account right now.
There's a League of Legends player. Every time since I've known of you, every time I think of you, I think of Hotshot, and I don't know why. I just always get confused. Podshot is who you are, and now you are more relevant to my life because I actually like what you're doing.
Thank you.
I can't wait to talk some more about it. Well, okay. So Ben, Podshot. Random name, just decided to go with it. James, Gentle Giant, just decided to go with it because he's tall. So
it's great. Just decided to go with it.
I love it. You know, these are excellent names. Very memorable. The
other question I like to ask, and not a lot of people know your guys' Minecraft character, because you're more in the back end stuff, but I like to talk about your Minecraft skin. Now, I might not have this correct, but I am pretty sure, Gentle Giant, you have the Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, of course.
I think it's Connor Kenway, right?
Connor. First one. I mean, yeah, Assassin's Creed. Good game.
Yeah.
Q is actually a fan of Assassin's Creed, or some of them. Which ones are you a fan of, Q?
Are we going to go into Assassin's Creed podcast now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Because
I could go for a while.
We could go for a while, I think.
You know, we'll geek out on Assassin's Creed a little bit later, I think.
He's got it in his. I mean, it's his Minecraft skin, and he's got it in his YouTube banners. So I figure he knows something about it.
Did you make that skin yourself, or did you steal it from PMC like me?
No, I made it.
Oh, nice.
It's years ago now.
I'll give you props on that. You picked the wrong assassin, but hey.
I think it was who the assassin was at the time.
Oh, well. Going with the trend. Okay. Podshot's skin is this biker-looking dude with redstone weapons in his hands.
Yep.
What's the story behind that?
So the skin was one of the online skin creation sites, and I found a face that I liked, and I found mostly a body skin that I liked, and I kind of just mashed them two together, but I added the headset myself. So it's not completely like
I love you're like, no, I swear. Okay, it was partly I did it. I did it myself. Okay, I swear. Believe me, I didn't steal it. I'm sorry.
He got his name from clicking a random name generator, and he got his skin from clicking a random skin generator.
Is Amulet like random like code generated? Like click, it now does that. Very good.
I wish it'd be a lot easier.
All right. Okay. So maybe you can bring those. You don't say this in past, but I was going to say maybe you could bring up the skins on screen. Anyway.
Yeah.
Blue. Okay. So one other thing I wanted to kind of cover before we get into like current events. Everybody kind of has their own story how they got into Minecraft. Now, I'm basing this on your YouTube videos. You guys were kind of more into, I'd say, like maybe the second generation of like around 2014. Is that when you started getting, or were you playing it before that?
I think it was good to Ben and I'll think. I think it was around about the 1.4 update.
The 1.4 update?
I think. I think it was just after the pretty scary update.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, I jumped in around beta 1.8. Is what was one I...
Beta 1.8? You didn't do your videos till way later.
Yep.
What you were? No, you're gonna be a YouTube star here. Well, I think you like. I didn't see any survival. Like, here's my survival. You guys kind of jumped into the technical.
Yeah, it was much later. I think it was summer 2012. I got it first.
Yeah.
Did you
I
guys
was trying to play Redstone the first time and had no idea what I was doing.
Well, I mean that's pretty classic. I'd like to meet the person who like first started Redstone and they knew exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
but like even just placing on the floor, I couldn't work out how to place a single redstone block on the redstone wire on the floor.
Oh. That's sad.
Do you know now, huh? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yes, I do.
It always bugged me when like command blocks came out and then they were starting to take over and everybody's like, "Whoa, look at the redstone!" I'm like, there's no redstone there, guys. It's command blocks. Come on. Anyway, I digress.
Yep.
Okay, so anyway, that was a nice little. I guess I was mostly saying like when I started playing Minecraft, I was like, this looks like. And then can we say that word? Do we have to bleep it out?
I'm gonna bleep you out.
Good, thank you. This looks like.
There it is.
Anyway, and then I eventually got. Was your guys' story sort of similar to that? Did friends show you what was your introduction to Minecraft?
Yeah, I got shown by friends. And then I think I went around one of their houses and started playing it and quite liked it and bought it.
Yeah, same. One of my friends said like, "Hey, there's this cool game." I'm like, "Oh, I'll check it out." And never actually went onto a server and played with him at all ever.
No.
It was just like he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and I looking back, it's a little funny how like he introduced me to this game and we've never played it together.
He's probably like, I brought you into the game and now you're developing Amulet and you don't even care about me.
I'll put him into credits one day.
One day.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks for introducing me.
I was really hoping that you would say that like you went on Wikipedia and clicked random page over and over until you found something that
looked good. Quite a while.
Oh,
There's a bit of a theme with me.
Yeah.
I remember playing on the Xbox version. There was like a half-hour demo at the very beginning. I played that a bunch of times.
You started on Xbox version.
I think I might have. I think I played the PC version briefly, like for a night, and then went play the Xbox for a bit.
How can somebody play? I don't get this. People play Minecraft on a controller. That's like.
It wasn't great. I just played it because I didn't have access to anything else.
You know, I've played a little bit on. So Leah's got a Switch, and I've played a little bit with that now, and my hand like cramps up. Like
that's a Switch controller.
Oh, okay. Well,
they're not really ergonomic.
They're for little tiny.
Because this podcast is brought to you by Nintendo of America.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I still to this day play Minecraft every once in a while. Do you guys actually play the game anymore?
I haven't for a while.
Yeah, I haven't since 1.11. I think is like since the last time I've seriously played.
You've missed all the
I've been
best
trying to get back into it. I've been trying to get back into it, but like
1.11.
But like it's funny when you don't play the game.
1.11. Come on, dude. Diversity 3 came out 1.13. How have you not played it yet?
Diversity 3.
You've played Diversity 3?
Yeah, I played it with some friends.
There you
It
go.
was a very good map.
Thank you. That's why you're on the show. Podshot, did you play it?
I have not played it.
Did you play it?
I will get around to playing it.
Was it the greatest map ever?
I am assured it has. Yes.
Thank you.
These are programmers, all right? They don't.
Yeah.
They
and
tell
they were
the
amazed
truth.
by the command.
These are programmers. If you ask them, "Have you played it?" and do the hint, nudge, nudge, they're gonna keep saying, "No, I haven't played it yet," because this is how programmers think. Okay, it's ones
I may have
and
had
zeros.
to get someone else to do the parcour levels because I suck at parkour.
Perfect.
You know?
So do I. I got someone else to build most of them, so we're in the same boat together. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of this Amulet program, because it's kind of like the beast of the map making world. It's like on the top agenda for a lot of map makers. I just want to preface this by explaining to people who aren't into map making why this is so important as a map maker. So in Minecraft, I know I'm taking up some time here, but Minecraft, we don't have one version. We have one version that only works on PC and Mac. It has cool things like Diversity, Diversity 2, Diversity 3, Diversity 4, Diversity 3. And it doesn't work on the Switch, the Xbox. It doesn't work on PlayStation. It doesn't work on phones. So we have this other version that does work on all those things. And now you can even play them like Switch against Xbox, right, guys? And they cannot communicate, or they haven't been able to communicate for a long time. And I get lots of people coming on my Discord saying, "Can I play Diversity 3 on my Nintendo Switch?" No, you can't. But these guys here have made a solution to help that. And that is what we are talking about. Amulet is a program that lets you take one type of Minecraft and turn it to the other type. Did I get it all right there, boys?
Yeah,
that's one part of it. Yeah,
that's
one part.
Okay, that's one part. The other part is, of course, you can do all the editing and stuff. Yeah, but the conversion is like most exciting for me.
Yeah, so it's an editor built on a converter.
Now there is other converters out there, but you cannot edit with them, or can you edit?
They're editors, so they're converters primarily, and then they do a little bit of editing, I think, generally. But nothing quite on the same scale as you could do with MC-Edit previously.
Right.
And they do it quite well, what they do. But we kind of want to be... We're currently an editor and a converter, but I'll get onto it more in a bit, but there is the ability to expand into other things.
Like doing your taxes.
Generally... I wish.
Well, maybe to help explain a little bit, Amulet-Editor is, and you guys both did MC-Edit filters, but Amulet-Editor was born out of MC-Edit Unified. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or just MC-Edit proper? And MC-Edit was mainly just a world editor. Did it do NBT editing? Or
yes, it could.
Map conversion?
It could. Not map conversion.
Shall I explain back to the basics?
Yeah. So
MC-Edit was originally designed around the Java world format.
Okay.
So it could initially edit Java worlds, and then was sort of modded from then onwards to update to support newer world formats.
Yeah.
But it wasn't designed originally to support Bedrock worlds as well. That was sort of just tacked on the side and was not natively designed to support two world formats. You could kind of copy data from one world to the other, but it wouldn't convert it, so you'd end up with potentially some corrupted blocks.
Yeah, I think
other issues.
Like if one block didn't exist, it would just turn into white wool or something.
Yeah, it was some weird bug like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really? when you guys say that, you're talking about when Mojang came out with a new update. There were new blocks in the game, but they weren't in MC-Edit. So it would just make them whole blocks. Is that what you're saying?
I can't remember the origin of that bug.
Yeah, so not necessarily. So MC-Edit, if it found a block it didn't recognize, it would just keep the block in the world, and it would just have like a weird purple, all purple texture.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to save, that block would still be there when you went into the game. But it was when you were like copying things from one version to another is when that was introduced, because that's the way MC-Edit handled blocks it didn't know about when you were copying.
Got it.
Because it tried to like preserve all the data it could. So it knew that if you were to take one block that was like in Bedrock but not in Java and take it to Java, it said, okay, well, I have to turn this into a block that Java knows, or else it won't load. So it tried to preserve the block, but it reverted to white wool if it didn't exist.
I guess that's better than just like crashing when you try to load the world. And the
I think the game would
load.
handle if a block was weird. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of explains what MC-Edit was before. And I want to get some more into like the history of the conversion from MC-Edit to Amulet, that transition. But now Amulet, you said, is a converter on top of an editor. Is that how you described it earlier?
Around.
The other way around. So now it's an editor on a converter currently.
So the Java 1.13 format came along, which completely broke how MC-Edit worked. So those New World formats is completely incompatible with MC-Edit. So at that point, we went back to basics and have been rewriting something like MC-Edit, but that can support both the old world format and the new world format. So natively, it works in a format similar to the Java format. At its core, it's a converter that can take the data from any world, so Java or Bedrock, and it will convert it into our custom system, which is we call the universal format. And you edit directly in the universal format, so you can take a Java world or a Bedrock world and edit it all in the same way, whereas in MC-Edit you'd have to customize the filter to edit the data that you'd be doing on what the actual world format was.
That's interesting. So that's why it's an editor on top of a converter, because you actually have to first convert it into your format.
Yes.
I get it. That's very, very interesting. Why did you decide to do that instead of just using, Java edition?
Because it's kind of structure. What we need to do to, if we were to convert everything into the Java format, there's some blocks in the Bedrock edition that don't exist in the Java edition.
Ooh, what blocks?
I can't remember off the head.
I think Crying Obsidian is that one?
That's a new one.
That's in Java.
That's a new block.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a Nether reactor core or something like that?
Yeah, that's one of the blocks.
Yeah, that was one.
That's in Bedrock? I know it was in Pocket
That's
Edition.
in Bedrock, yeah. Bedrock is just a continuation of Pocket Edition.
And then I know there was dyed horse leather or something like that. Is a thing in Bedrock. I don't know if that's affected at all.
I don't know. Item frames are an interesting one because in Java Edition they're entities, in Bedrock Edition they're blocks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the kind of thing that we translation-wise have to account for.
Very
interesting. I'd have to look up the list of blocks that don't exist, but there are quite a few.
Let's go to the bare bones basic of this thing. You guys are working on, let's say, MC-Edit. I know there was an MC-Edit 2. I'm not really sure what that's about. But all of a sudden, the Java team says, we're done with damage values. No one's going to know what that means unless you're Matt Baker. But anyway, they go, we're changing all the names of every single block to make sense.
Yep.
And then the Bedrock team's like, we're keeping it all the same. And then you guys sit there going, we can't do this. We need to come up with a new program.
Yeah.
What is the story at that point?
So MC-Edit only knew the ID and data values. There was the entire system was built off of that, and when 1.13 initially came out, we're like, okay, that's a problem. And we tried to make just like one-to-one mapping from like ID data values to the block states, but then they started adding new blocks, and we're like, we could just keep adding data like the IDs and all that to MC-Edit internally, but we quickly, and then I think they started talking about the flattening, where they broke everything apart, and then that's when we kind of were like, okay, we need something new, because I think like we tried for like 2 months to try to get MC-Edit to work with 1.13 without rewrite or without like making a new program, and at the end of it we were just like, there's no way, like it nothing was working. Blocks would just like disappear for some reason. So at that point we switched gears and we're like, okay, let's start from the ground up. Let's make something that can load both versions, because at that point we're like, well, we know people are going to stay on 1.12 for some reason, and we know people are going to move on to 1.13 for some reason. So we need a way. We wanted to make an editor, what turned out to be a converter, that can support both, just so we're not having to support MC-Edit, which was already like a 10-year-old program to like 2 or 3 years ago, and this new program that is better aware of what Mojang has been moving towards with block states and all that. So at that point we're just like, okay, time to rewrite everything, and we just kind of went back to the drawing board.
You guys started with a black screen and started typing if block
Pretty much,
really like completely scratch. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did the whole MC-Edit team, I don't, maybe how many people were on the team, like were contributing to the MC-Edit project at that time?
So the last update we had, I think, was still when we had a Skype chat. We had this big Skype group of like 11 people. But the team was really more of like 4 or 5. I think was around the number, James. And then
I think this is before my time.
Yeah.
Before your time?
I think you were in
like in 1976.
I think you were in the Skype chat. And we just kind of switched over to Discord,
right?
And then at that point, that's kind of when like most of the contributors that originally were helping us kind of again, we didn't keep track, but like some of them like moved on.
Sure.
So, and then that's when we kind of realized again, like we need to rebuild this because we don't have enough people to kind of tack on, like, you know, that. So at that point, it started out as 2 of us, and then James joined like a week later. He's just like he started working on the translation system, and all that, and then that's when the ball kind of got rolling at that point.
Yeah, it's tough when you have an existing project that's been around for years and years, and there's so much to it, and then this huge change happens. It's like if you were a part of that team before, you're like, man, I feel like a lot of my work is moot now. You know, like I have worked on this project for years, and now we're just closing it. I don't want to be a part of the next iteration. I don't want to start this thing over again. Whereas on the other hand, if you're starting this new project, you have to decide, like, do we want to reuse any of the old code? And I mean, if you guys are starting from scratch, that a lot of times that would make sense, because it's like, there's so much old code. Like, what do we choose to use? And sometimes you just can't do that. It's just not really possible to pick and choose all of the pieces that you're going to use, because it's a decade old. There's stuff that's forever old. So it's easier just to start off fresh.
I don't think I've actually recycled any of the old code.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I think we pretty much I think we've written literally everything from scratch.
Yeah.
We also switched from a Python version. We were using like one that I think this year is getting discontinued. Like they're not even going to update
I think it already did
it anymore.
Python 2.7. I think it was 2019 it got discontinued.
Yeah, so and then we jumped to 3.7. So like like all the code that's there still mostly works, but like at that point you're not only copying the code and fixing the things that, you know, caused the issues with 1.13 in the first place, but now you're updating the actual like code and what it does to match the new version. So at that point, again, it was just easier just to go from scratch again.
Sure. Now I'm just curious about this. Did you guys switch licenses, or is it the same license for the code? Like, are you guys, what is the license? Is GPL, MIT?
We're currently discussing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're discussing it currently.
Okay.
That question went right over my head.
That's why
Was it a driver's license? I don't even know what you're talking about.
The intention has always been to make it freely available to the general public for non-commercial reasons. Beyond that, we're still discussing.
Licensing is quite a long and complex discussion, but basically, it's what he said. Like, for those people who don't know, it's a question of what it's like copyright. It is copyright. It is copyright licensing. I guess is an easy way to put it. And what does the license grant people to do? To use it, to develop it, to distribute it, to edit it in some way, to contribute to the project on GitHub. It lays out the terms for what can be done with the software.
Exactly. So like we want to have a license that people can freely use our software. They can look at the code. They can like use the code in their projects. They can contribute that code, like any changes they made, back to us, so we can like benefit from their knowledge. But it's also like you don't want people just ripping Amulet and then putting it up as their own
and selling it for a lot of money.
Yeah, because then they're benefiting from our work. So that's the kind of like thing that we're trying to do, is because there's a lot of licenses that say you have to only pay for it, and then there's a lot of ones that's like, oh, you can use it for whatever. So we have to find the middle ground where it's just like, we don't want people to like have to pay for this because we want this freely available, but we also don't want people to just be able to copy it to their computer, like follow our instructions to make it, and then post it online and say, hey guys, look, I made this. Yeah. So it's a tough discussion that we're having.
I got it. You should do the giant Podshot license. There we go. And then
create your own license.
If the people try to take advantage of you, you send the giants over.
That's it.
And they take these big cannons and they shoot pods of peas out at the person, and they get pelleted, and that's how you control it.
This is great. This is how you know Q.
That could work.
Didn't know what the topic was.
So
about,
hey guys, I would like to know. Okay, I would like to know the first time that you successfully created the conversion. You know, oh my goodness, it actually works. Was that the reaction, or how was your reaction when that?
I think I tweeted it. It was, I remember the first time I converted a world, all of like, so a chunk is a 16 by 16 by 256 tall region of the world, which is split up into 16 subchunks, which are 16 by 16 by 16 regions within that. And I think there was a bug in our code which meant all of the subchunks were like flipped on their side.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So it was like, it was converted pretty well, but
that's how I make a dropper. Like you just take a world and flip it. Oh, I just made a map.
It looked like the far lens from like
it did a bit
way long ago.
Yep.
So you fixed that bug.
Yep.
Hit the button on your computer like I did it.
I think it was a bunch of different bugs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It was like logs weren't rotated, so like all the trees were like had like their logs facing the correct way. It was crazy. But I saw the picture because you had sent it to our channel, and I was just like, oh man, like I was in class at the time. But I get out of class and I look at him like, and I just like in the hallway I just go like, yes, and like
I was hoping you'd be like, I stood up from my desk and be like, yes, and the whole class goes, what?
I think I know the picture you're talking about. I thought it kind of looked, maybe I'm thinking wrong, but it kind of looked like it was all not just on its side like that, but almost angled a bit. The way that you took the screenshot, it like looked like a weird, the chunks were like split and sectioned off and stuff.
If you had like a mountain, the actual mountain on general was about right, but you sort of just took each little cube and rotated it 90 degrees. So it like looked generally all right, but I'm sure
that's still in the game, but we call it a filter now.
See, even that had to be super exciting. You're like, this is
Yeah.
terrible. It's totally broken, but I love this. We're doing this.
Yeah, from then it's just been slowly but surely fixing all the little blocks that are translating badly.
Yeah,
Nice.
because
I think we've
back
got
then
most of
too,
them.
we didn't have like any window, so like he was just going in the game and like looking at the carnage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Surprise! That's
That was literally just some Python code, and I pressed a button and it sort of spat out a world that I loaded up.
Have you messed around with the conversion at all to intentionally make weird looking worlds?
I haven't, but you could totally do that with an operation within Amulet. You could change the world how you like.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I think I am interested in trying that out sometime.
I guess this is kind of like the burning question that nobody really thinks about. Why? Why bother making Amulet? Why? What does it matter? Like, you guys are in it for fun? I don't know. What's your purpose? Why are you doing this?
That's honestly a really interesting question, because I don't really know if I have like a specific answer for me. I know we like every day we were getting like bug reports, messages in our Discord, and people going like, when will MC Edit 1.13 like
and you
be stored?
created a bot to answer those questions.
We did, and we had a counter. We had a counter that said days since last 1.13 request, and I don't think it ever got above like 3.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're still posting the Reddit, MC Edit Reddit, of just people posting error reports, mostly from MC Edit 2, of like, why does this not work?
Yeah.
Wow.
I never tried MC Edit 2. I don't really know what it was, but
Yeah, I didn't either. It was the original developer for MC Edit Unified, or MC Edit Original, who then decided to try and recreate it and got part way. But
speaking of these developers, okay, so right now you guys are a team of, I mean, like on the website, on Amulet-Editor.com, there's 4 people listed, or 5? I think it's 4.
I think 4.
So how many people are on the team right now?
Currently active, it's just us 2.
Yeah, just us 2.
Just the 2 of you. Okay. So when you have this group of people, or like the former project lead for MC Edit, or if new people want to contribute, they decide, I don't care if these guys have a license or not, I want to contribute to the GitHub, whatever. How do you check what people are doing? Now, I've used GitHub and I've done development stuff quite a lot in the past. But what is your process? Like, if somebody's like, I want to help out with Amulet Editor, I want to get involved, I want to be famous like Podshot and Gentle Giant, and they start submitting code to you, are you literally just reading their code like a book? Are you testing everything before you bring it in?
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Like usually I'll skim it first for anything that like just looks out of place. And in terms of like them just like writing to random files, or like things that just I know won't work. And then I usually will like load up their changes, see what's actually happening, and then from there, just again doing a deeper dive later. And
I feel like it's like one of those I don't know, Iron Man Goodwill Hunting things where like you can't figure, and all of a sudden the one guy's like, just do this. The little letter in there. That's the answer to the code. Oh my goodness. That's how I envision it, at least.
Yeah. It's also a matter of like figuring out like what they're trying to accomplish with like that feature, and seeing if like not if they're doing it the right way, because most of the time they're doing it like in a right way, but it's more of like, are they doing it like in a way that makes sense? In a way, like you don't want to, for example, with MC Edit, I tried to add entity modules. Like you'd actually see like a creeper in the world instead of the red box. Right. And so for every chunk, I looped through every single entity that was in that chunk, and the world just wouldn't load because you have so many entities in a world for that to happen. So so that was like me. So like I had to like kind of step back and go like, okay, if I were the person looking at this code, wanting to like add it in, I would just say no. This is terrible, because like one chunk would load like a second, which sounds fast, but that's 16 by 16 blocks.
It's not fast at all.
Yeah, right. So it's 16 seconds to load like just a row of what you'll see in game. So
gosh,
it's those things as well. It's like saying like, okay, they have the right idea, but is this like something that will like affect performance or cause issues down the line that we'll have to deal with, and then trying to sort those out at the beginning instead of when we actually hit them.
Yeah. I only have one more like technical question that I want to ask. All right. For all of our astute, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but for the listeners who are interested in this stuff, do you have now I can't think of that word either. I'm losing all my words. Like a code format that you use. So you use Python 3.7. Do you have a named format that you use so that if somebody wanted to come and contribute, they can, if they're familiar with this code format, with how to add in comments and structure their code and lay out spacing and tabs and all that stuff, like if they want to come in and contribute, is there a named format that they use, or is it just what you guys have?
So we have an auto formatter. So there's this program that you can install that when you're done writing code or whatever, you basically run the program on that file and it'll reformat everything to like just whatever that program says is the format.
Yeah.
And we kind of just use that because I'm inconsistent like all the time with how I do things.
Same, yeah.
So it's easier just to have it do it for me. And other than that, like we try to have like a little bit of like documentation, but for the most part, we just add that later down the line when like we're like, okay, this is in a state where people could use it.
Yeah.
So now it's time to add the documentation.
That's cool.
Yeah, because stuff can change a lot.
That's critical. Like the people who don't know, like with development teams, having a format, having something that's consistent is critical, because if you have one person writing your code one way and another writing it another way, it's easy to totally misunderstand what's going on. So when you ask that question, if I was another developer looking at this code, what would I think? I would think that this code is terrible because it doesn't make any sense at all. And then, of course, you have those jokes, right, with developers where they're like, they'll leave a comment for themselves and the comment will say, try and figure out what this code does. And 6 years later, they'll see that comment and be like, I still don't know what this code actually does because it's formatted so poorly.
I've done that with my code as well. Like in MCED, I'll leave comments like, this will probably break things in the future. I think that's an actual comment that's in the source code.
I think I have a comment like that in Amulet.
we all do, right?
Fix this later at some point.
Like, don't forget to shave on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Nope. And then it never happens.
Yep.
Okay, so for the non-technical group like me, what's Amulet? Where does this name come from? We kind of skipped this. I wanted to go to the beginning. Where'd you come up with Amulet? What does that mean?
Oh, that's a... So, we had a conversation for like 2 weeks on what the name was going to be.
We did quite a bit of brainstorming, yeah.
Yeah, I think it stands for a Minecraft utility tool editor, or like level editor tool.
Wait
a second. Was that like, let's come up with a name first and then feed words into the acronym, or did you have like these long names and then it happens to spell it?
Well, it was more the words came first and the name came later.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not like the shield thing.
Yeah, no, I think I went onto like an online site. Again, this is a theme.
Random.
Typed in the words that I wanted it to stand for, and then clicked like to show me like acronyms, and it, like an Amulet was one of them.
You are keeping the "I'm feeling lucky" button alive on Google.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
You're the entire market for that. Wow. Well, that's cool. There's another question on this page here. about that we might have to change now.
You can work on that. Okay.
Think about
the
that.
other thing I wanted to ask you guys about was how. Okay, so a new version of Minecraft comes out. You guys are obviously like, okay, bring it to us. And there's our thing. Are you getting this beforehand? Are you like, how close are you to going? Okay, you can convert it on this version now.
So the Java edition, we get the snapshots, but I don't really look at those. I basically just take the full release as it gets released and then create the translations from there. So yeah, the Java edition has like some commands that allow, like external commands that allow you to generate a bunch of data from the server, and that's very useful. The Bedrock edition does have that, but it's in the like the private dev builds. Right.
Okay. See, I'm just wondering, going, okay, so 16.2 horizontal chains done.
Yep.
You know, is that as easy as it is?
I haven't done those yet. Those will have to just come as and when.
Yeah.
It generally takes me like a day or two after the release to support new blocks.
That's really cool. So it's pretty quick to the release. And how far back can you convert to?
We stop at 112.
Currently, officially, it's Java 1.12 is the furthest back you can go, and Bedrock 1. I can't remember the number, but it's like 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah.
Java 1.12 isn't a hard limit. We just haven't backdated the translator far enough.
Now, who would want to convert back? I asked you guys this question on Discord. Oh, you have a Discord. By the way, what's your Discord link so anybody can go to it?
It's some letters. We'll probably send it to you.
Okay. We'll put it in the show notes. I asked you guys this question because I was really curious. More just I don't think I would ever do it, but there's obviously new blocks. You take a map, say built in 1.16, and you convert back. What happens to the blocks like lodestone, like
so
mushroom,
the newer blocks,
glow, whatever it is? They turn to white wool, please.
Newer blocks in their current situation that don't exist in a version you're converting to will get currently converted to air. But if there's like a space in the translation system I've left that will allow me to specify a block that block would get converted to. So it is possible for you to change it to, for me to specify a block that's close-ish to what that block is that exists in the output version, but currently isn't implemented yet.
Change it all to prime TNT and be like, don't try it, boys. Anyway, that was kind of the two things I was most interested in. I'm actually going to be using it, I hope, soon, because I tried it once and it worked. I was a little bit weird with the mouse because I wanted MC-Edit. You can drag the whole thing, and I know there was something about this was a while ago, so maybe you guys have changed this. There was something about I had to know the coordinates where I was pasting it or something like that.
So currently we only load the data from the actual chunks, so we don't know where the players are. It's again something that needs to be implemented. So currently you're just dropped at 0, and you would need to know where exactly you are. Where your player is in the world, and then you can press the button at the top where your coordinates are, and then type it in there.
You load a map always on the world spawn.
You always start at 0. It's not necessarily the world spawn. It's just 0.
Oh, okay, 0. Okay. Now you guys kind of what's the word? Unleashed or revealed at Minecon. I wanted to talk a little bit about Minecon because all of us have been to Minecon, but very little people have got to go backstage and see the process there. Maybe we'll talk about that after this.
Very little people, so not Gentle Giant.
He's very tall. Very few people. I'm sorry.
I got a cue, man.
I'm losing my train of thought, man.
Gotta get back on track.
You guys got involved with Pathway Studios. Now that's a marketplace partner. How was that? How did that happen?
So they kind of approached us a little bit before Minecon, and they're like, we need a world editor. and they're like MC Edit is, because we stated previously that like MC Edit was not probably going to get updated, like it just wasn't going to happen, and they kind of approach us and they're like, we want to help you make a new editor because that's something that we feel is needed for map makers like across the board.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like MC Edit. Not to to like say, oh, we're the only people that are doing this, but like
just do it. Say it.
The ability
Can't touch
to
us.
see
Nothing's like us, man.
The ability to see the world in an external program and edit it like visually that way was something that is very hard to do. We know that. So it's one of those things that like it allowed creators to not have to worry about like their performance, like their computer performance or anything like that, and they could just go like, oh, I want like an entire sphere that's like or has a radius of like 1,000. Boom, it's in there. Like they didn't need to like place those blocks. They don't need like the commands that are present in Minecraft can't really do like that sophisticated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
it's
sphere
not easy
or
to use.
Yeah, so they wanted to help like solidify us together and say, okay, like we want to help, like we want to be like one of the people that like are showing you the interest in it. It's not just people saying when's MC at 1.13 coming out. Like they were fully on board with something completely brand new.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. It's incredible. I mean, it's awesome to see a company like Pathway invest in the community. Of course, that helps them. If the tool exists and they can use it, their team members can use it, and they can hire people who have experience with it. And so I think that's really good stuff.
They were really helpful at the beginning because we were making like private builds to like check everything, and like we send it like our builds off to them a few times to say like, hey, can you run these through like your worlds and like make sure that like you're getting the same results we are, because if it works on our machine, that like that's a programmer joke.
Right.
It works on my machine. So they were very helpful in saying, okay, we have confirmed it works. Can you actually like do the actual like thumbs up, like, yes, it works on someone who doesn't have everything set up to program it.
Yeah.
How what's the biggest thing that you know of that's, or like not maybe biggest, but most I'm just saying like examples of things that were converted that worked with our program, great, that people know maybe.
I would say I would say that was probably just blocks in general. Like blocks are just such a big hurdle for us. Like James can go into more detail, like because it was the translation system, but it's like all the like you'd think like, oh yeah, dirt is dirt in both Java and Bedrock, but like things like redstone, stuff like that, like are completely different beasts when it comes to how they were handled in Java and how they were handled in Bedrock. So like you can get like stone and all that stuff very easily. Like that's what our initial test that came out we had when we announced Amulet, that it was able to nail like stone, dirt,
nice easy blocks,
that stuff. But doors, stuff like that, that's
doors, really?
Because they don't exist on one block.
So their data is stored across both of the blocks. So the bottom block stores half of the data about the door, and the top block stores the other half of the data. You've got whether it's open, which side the hinge is on, which rotation it is, and there just isn't enough. In the original versions of Minecraft, you only had 16 states per block, so there just wasn't enough states for one block to hold all of that data.
And before the flattening, the block state also held what type of door it was, or like stone, for example, is Minecraft stone, and then the brackets like andesite or like block type andesite. But like when they did the flattening, all of a sudden like it's Minecraft andesite, nothing else. So that's another translation thing. It's just like, okay, well, we have the ID system, we have pre-flattening, now we have post-flattening. How do we get all that to work together?
Wow.
Yeah, we need a system that handles the new Java format, the new Bedrock format, the old Java format, and the old Bedrock format.
You guys should go on like every interview and be like, what's the hardest thing about Amulet? Doors. Doors are so hard to convert. Once we got the doors down, the rest is piece of cake.
I think what is the worst block?
Yeah, what is the worst block? A mob spawner.
The new fences are kind of irritating because
Oh, really?
there's so many different states. And
for people who don't know what
varies.
we're talking about, you can be a single post. You can connect to the east, west, south, or north, or any combination you want of.
And they've added an option for the wall to be a tall wall as well, so it'll be like a seamless wall vertically.
Oh.
Oh, that I didn't realize that was an option. I thought that was just generic. It always did that now. Now you can change it.
It connects by default, but it's a property.
Yeah.
So you could, in Amulet, you could fill the fence posts with them not tall. I think if you gave it a block update in game, it would realize and reconnect everything.
Sure. What about stairs or stairs? Because I've used some other tools to like copy
doors,
things.
but they're pretty hard.
Are stairs
not too bad?
Not too bad. I've done that copying thing. You know, you copy something over, and then the stairs will flip upside down. They're all facing in the other direction and everything. So you guys have got that down pretty well, huh?
Chests are pretty horrible. So I think originally it was just done based on where the block was, what was next to it. Changed how it connected. And I think in the newer version, they now store in MBT which chest it's connected to. No, I think in Java it's stored as a property, whether it's connected on the left or the right, or not at all. And then in the Bedrock edition, it's stored as NBT, what block it's connected to. So it's just like handling all the different systems and putting it into a consistent format.
Yeah.
Wow. A lot of stuff. We actually need to. We have so much stuff.
Wait. One more thing for map makers out there. MC had a lot of filters. Can you guys add filters to Amulet? Is that coming soon? Is that a thing now? What's going on?
That is
we have what's known as operations, which is effectively the same as filters, but is more powerful, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ours is better.
They are already in Amulet. You can already make custom filters, custom operations. There is some documentation, but it's minimal.
Yeah.
It's very much a sort of good luck. Here's what you can do. Good luck.
Here's some examples and what we do, and then you're off.
Yeah, they're there, but we're kind of currently hesitant to push people towards them too much because if we change something, it might then break someone's operation.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the little guy, Mr. Giant.
We really wanted to get into. We've got a whole bunch of stuff here. We wanted to talk about the 3D printed spyglass, hashtag Minecraft IRL.
Assassin's Creed, Chronicles. When's the next recap
launcher,
coming out?
Why you tried to build a Minecraft launcher in 2012?
How much do you hate Hogwarts now?
Man.
You know, we had so much we wanted to talk about, but unfortunately,
I want to see more carnival games in Minecraft, purely vanilla Podshot.
Or fortunately, we geeked out for a while, and I really enjoyed this. What is my last question, and then I'll hand it off to Q, and then we're going to move into getting in with the pod. No, that's
getting in with the pod.
Questions from the pond. Where did getting in with the pod come from? Anyway, what is like? You guys just had a release a few days ago. Last week.
Yep.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I saw that on GitHub. There was a commit from Gentle Giant. I saw a commit, but that doesn't mean a release.
No one knows what commit GitHub are.
There's a lot of people that know what it is. There's a lot of people that know what it is. What is the main task? What's the next big task that you guys are going to accomplish now that you have that release out? And what's the next
player
big
location?
There's a lot of little things like that. Yeah.
What's the top one? What's on the top of the list?
I think currently, because we don't support entities or items, I think those are kind of, I want to say top of the priority list, but also very difficult to implement and are going to take a long time to do so.
Does it convert things like items in chests?
So
currently, if you're converting from the same format, so if you're like editing, it's fine. But converting from Java to Bedrock, I think the items will get lost.
Okay. And that's coming out tomorrow. No? The next day.
We wish.
Give it maybe a few more months. Maybe.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
Awesome. Q, do you have any last questions before we move on?
Who is the best Assassin's Creed assassin?
Probably Ezio.
Probably Ezio.
Definitely Ezio.
Okay, all right, definitely Ezio. Okay, let's go to question from the pond.
Question from the pond. The pond is our Discord server. Discord.com/thevoidfrogs is not the URL. I don't know why. What is wrong with my brain today? I'm tired.
Don't know.
Thevoidfrogs.com/Discord is where you guys can join the pond and ask your question, and we will ask it of our next guest. So you can join in there. We have a bunch of questions from a couple different people this week. I did not write them down in my notes, but I had one on the top of my head that I really liked. Unless, Q, you have one that you're like, no, we're asking this one right now.
If it's about me or my life, let's go.
Okay, cool.
Well,
so this is from, we've actually had this question on here, or this person asked a question.
Let's just preface this by telling Gentle Giant and Podshot that these questions, we basically don't tell them who they're asking. These questions are for you. They don't know who you are.
Yep.
Like, we don't tell them who's coming on the show. So it could be it could be like how to use hair gel or something like that.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what this thing is.
We give them a hint, but they don't know exactly who you are. So this week I told them that we are interviewing a couple of people who develop tools, software that is used by different people and in the community. And a question from the World Foundry, whom we featured one of his questions.
No idea who that guy is, right?
See, do you guys know the World Foundry?
They know the World Foundry.
Yeah.
Yes,
everybody knows the World Foundry. Everybody should know him. He's a cool guy. Anyway, so he had a question, and he might know who you are, just based on our hint. I really like this one question. Is, do you feel connected to, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it right in front of me. Do you feel connected to the projects that people are creating?
Paraphrasing a question from the pond? That's not allowed.
I don't have it in front of me. You want to look it up?
How connected do you feel to the projects?
That's it.
That use your tools.
That's it.
So for me, it's a little bit of a connection. It's a weird connection.
Yeah. Because
I don't in terms of effort put into it, I don't have a connection to what they made. But it's nice. It's a connection of, they felt what I made was useful enough that they were able to utilize it to make whatever vision they wanted. And that's my connection is a bit of a more of a abstract connection of oh wow, they felt that our tool was the best suited to make this rope bridge or make that big sphere, and that's how I'm connected to it, is pride that what they're releasing is using what we made to make their life easier.
It's cool. Good.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. When I started building Hogwarts years ago, I started placing blocks by hand, and then I didn't know about MC-Edit at that point, and then Googled and found MC-Edit, and that realization that I can do things not by hand was brilliant. So I just hope there's people out there that have the same kind of feeling from the tools that we make.
Do you guys... so hoping you guys were going to say, 100%, that project wouldn't exist without me. I'm the reason it exists.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys think it would be fair for you? I feel like it would be fair for you if somebody builds something in MC Edit and they put it online. You can say, I built that. Because it is your code made it happen.
Did that. You played Skyblock? That's my map.
I did that. Oh, good stuff. Good question.
I just want to say for
Thanks,
Gentle Giant,
World Foundry.
GG, you know?
GG, Gentle Giant.
Just wanted to say that for you.
GG indeed.
Thank you, Adrian, for a
GG.
question to the pod. If you want to leave a question, you can go on the Discord, discord.com/ I don't know what it is.
thevoidfrogs.com/discord. They're all over the place today. I don't know what's going on. Cue rapid fire. Hurry up. Get us in there.
Rapid fire! Get my glass of non-alcoholic water.
We've got a fun segment for you here.
Yeah.
Today.
You guys familiar with rapid fire?
Yeah.
It is a okay. Well,
Yep.
I know you watch every episode. I'll just recap it.
Podshot watched one of them.
5 random questions, nothing to do with anything that we talked about, nothing to do with Minecraft, just the fun little stuff. Put you on the spot. We'll kind of ask you both each question and see what you come up with. Are you ready?
Hopefully, you've never heard these questions before.
If you have ever heard any of these questions, I would be absolutely shocked.
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Think so.
Okay, good. That was the first question.
That's the
Question
good
number
job.
2.
GG.
After years of working on pythons, the snakes. No. Python.
No.
That
The
would have been a
coding
better
language.
question.
No.
After years of working on Python, the coding language, you suddenly find out it's actually an ancient sentient being that has disguised itself as a programming language and wants to take over the world. What is with these take over the world questions? Before I didn't write this. Before it can break out of your home network, you have one chance to stop it by controlling another programming language to fight it in bite-to-bite combat. What language is the best chance of dealing with this deadly, dreaded Python?
I would say Java.
Oh, Java is gonna kill. So basically, you're throwing coffee at a snake.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
It would work. Snake's weakness.
From my perspective, I think we're all doomed because Python's sort of the only language that I really know.
Oh, so yeah, and
Goodness.
me as a non-programmer, like, French, I don't know. Here, take that.
Well,
I
maybe
think
you
you're
can
gonna go like functions or something.
That was my
Throw command
my
blocks at
blocks
it.
was like my backup.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just fight it in
Very good.
Minecraft with
Yeah.
you can see, but you know Python really well. You could help find its weaknesses and give that to Ben, and he can use Java to exploit the weaknesses. Does
I'll probably
Python
apologize for the code I've written first, though.
Nice. Excellent. Oh, beautiful. Question number 2. You guys ready for this?
Yep.
Rosie the elephant is the newest applicant to want to join the Amulet-Editor team. She's tired of being a school mascot and wants to get into programming, so she's hoping you have a spot open for her. Knowing how big an elephant's feet are, you don't want her smashing computers as she works. So what would you hire her to do?
Cool. I would say probably graphic designer.
Oh. With
But-
like a
G-
paintbrush,
But
yeah.
you
the
need a
nose.
computer.
No,
right?
give her-
No, they could paint it and I could scan it.
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
that's nice.
I think it's a good answer.
idea.
Oh.
Very
I'm honestly
nice.
not really sure. I think artist is probably a decent answer.
You're copying his answer?
I
you
don't have
serious?
anything. I don't have anything.
That's like minus 10 points right there. You can't copy someone's. That's plagiarism.
Well, he's already let the world get destroyed, so
Yeah.
I think in this weather you could probably do with a shower every now and again. I feel like that's not a great use of an elephant.
A shower? I would love to see a shower the size of an elephant. That would be the
crazy.
greatest shower.
It's good stuff. Ben, do you think that Rosie the elephant would make a good team member?
I think she would, yeah.
All right. Good deal. Fighting engineers.
Rosie the elephant.
That's
Anyway,
okay. Ben knows. Ben
Question
knows.
number 3. An investor wants to give you $357 million. Unfortunately, it's in Canadian, so do the little conversion there. But anyway, to keep working on Amulet. Okay? 357 million Canadian dollars. And it's all colored money. Like, it's not one green colored thing.
It's really pretty. It's cute.
But they have one stipulation. They need to find out where the rest of the sentence is. The acronym Amulet must be totally changed to a new meaning. If they're impressed by the meaning of the acronym, you get the money all up front. You don't even have to tell them what you're going to do with it. What does the acronym for Amulet now stand for?
This is the question that I had to rewrite because I didn't know that Amulet was already an acronym.
I didn't either.
Wow. Nice.
Oh, great. You guys can come up with this together. You guys can even do like one letter at a time if you want. So like Gentle Giant.
Ooh, I got it. Okay, hold on.
What?
We're going to start with Podshot. You say the first letter, and then Gentle Giant, you got to say the next one. Go.
Amazing.
Majestic?
Unambiguous.
How do you spell? I'm going to type this out.
Amazing, majestic, unambiguous.
We
already did
language?
you. Sorry, can't do them. Language.
Extension.
Typeface?
Typeface?
I have no idea.
Amazing, majestic.
Laserface.
I don't even remember what the U was. I think it was unambiguous language extension typeface.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't think you're getting that money. I don't think you're getting
357 million Canadian dollars. Might have to go with the old acronym.
Well done. Well done. Somebody help us figure out what Amulet actually stands for. So we can.
So we used to play this game. It was like that. You'd go the letter of the alphabet, and you would have to tell a story, one person at a time. Very fun.
Yeah.
Write in the comments a story starting with A and continue the trend.
Amazing, majestic, unambiguous language extension typeface. Because Amulet
You're
editors,
a typeface. Go to question 4.
Now a typeface. Question 4. If you could give one species of animal a mullet, hairstyle, which animal would it be? What hairstyles would you give other animals?
I think a gorilla would look pretty funny.
With a mullet?
That's a good one.
A what?
A gorilla.
A gorilla. I expect this to be on screen.
And then throws its hair.
I want this picture on screen for YouTube audience. You better be there.
Oh man!
I would say a lion. I think a lion would be pretty funny.
Ooh,
I already have a very big mane, don't they?
I was totally thinking you're gonna go with dolphin. Like, dolphin is like the perfect mullet animal.
I can totally see a gorilla with like clean up front, business in front, right? Yeah. I can totally see that, and then just like a long, beautiful, flowing hair, or a lion too. Like I can see that. The dolphin, I feel would look like a wig.
It was like amazing.
What? That's good. What hairstyles would you give other animals?
And majestic, amazing, and majestic. It would look unambiguous.
Yep. And look like a language.
What are you talking about?
A language extension typeface.
They forgot the question you asked them.
Yeah.
That's all right. Moving on.
Let's go to question 5. Final question 4. Rapid fire. In the distant, actually, it's question 6 because the first question was.
That's right.
In the distant future, the GGJGC is a secret society where members follow the ancient language typefaces of the wise, gentle giant JGC. the 21st century. When they meet, they greet each other with a phrase to remind themselves of what they believe that their ancestral leader has a motto, had as a motto. What is this phrase? Podshot, you get to answer first.
Cool. You're small? I don't know.
You're small. That's like the worst. It's like not even a rhyme or anything. Now chanting art, you're small.
All of these followers of Gentle Giant.
You're small.
Just walk,
You're small. You're small.
You're small. You're small.
What was the last part of the question?
What's the phrase?
What's the phrase? They believe their ancestral leader, had as a motto.
Oh, as a motto. Sorry, I thought you said as a mod of.
As a tomato.
It's a tomato.
All hail the Almighty.
Whoa, nice! I love the little the words go up in vocal.
Maybe.
In my defense, I couldn't use a random generator.
Oh, that's true. I was gonna say, as an Assassin's Creed fan in Odyssey, when you go in a deep dark cave and they're all.
I haven't played the newer ones.
Oh, that's totally different. I was gonna say that. Well, you won't understand.
Spoilers.
Thanks for playing Rapid Fire,
Rapid Fire. Great job, guys. Great job. I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
We call that the warm up.
Yep, because we have one segment left.
Yep.
This is Void Frogs Trivia. It's here. Void Frogs Trivia. 5 questions. We are keeping score. There is a timer in my head.
Yep.
I am going to decide whether or not I will support Amulet-Editor development in the future based on your score today. Q, what's the prize that they're competing for?
If you get all questions correct, you will win $357 million Canadian.
That's right.
And if you get one wrong, I'm going to hack Amulet so that every block turns into Prime TNT.
That's right.
Do not get any wrong.
That's right. Are you gentlemen ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Question number 1. Named after a type of peas of the same name found in 1925, this brand mascot was awarded the title of the 3rd most well-known character after Marlboro Man and Ronald McDonald. He spreads his jolly love of vegetables around the world to this day. Who is he?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I have no idea.
He's the 3rd most well-known character in the world.
Not anymore. You said Marlboro. I don't think they're around anymore.
Marlboro Man is still around.
No, I don't know.
This was a survey.
You also asked
done
a question from
1925.
1925.
I know.
That was probably before their parents existed.
No, but
before my parents existed.
But this character, he loves vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
He's jolly. And
Jolly Green Giant?
Hey, ding!
There
you go.
Should we be doing the should we do like a Giant versus Podshot here? Nope.
Oh, hey,
Or you want to team up? You guys want to be on the same team or go against each other?
Yeah.
I think if that's based on the question, we probably should team up.
Team up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fine. Okay, so Prime TMT is coming.
So far, Gentle Giant is pulling a bit more weight than Podshot.
Yeah. Come on. Okay.
Just keep that in mind.
Question number 2. Now, as you can see, Giant was the last answer. You might get a little theme here. Question number 2. The overwhelmingly critically acclaimed and fan-favorite space opera biopic film Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was adored by audiences of all ages back in 1999. The flawless story tells a beautiful tale of a boy who is destined to become greater than any being in the known universe, with the truest Star Wars fans saying it is the greatest film in the entire series. Largely due to the absolutely hilarious comedic writing of the character Jar Jar Binks. And also because of the perfect film direction and gritty realism of the pod racing scene.
Little over the top there, Q.
The young hero is in the race for his life, literally. As an innocent slave, if he wins the pod race, he gains his freedom. What is the name of this boy?
Anakin Skywalker.
Very good. Ding.
Good job. And Q is thrilled that he gets to share that he loves Star Wars Episode 1.
I am a true Star Wars fan.
He's a true Star Wars fan.
I am writing the Jar Jar Binks sequel.
That was a very long question.
Greatest question we have ever had.
Question number 3. You guys are 2 for 2. You're doing great. And you're equal too. You're both pulling the same weight now. Question number 3. The famous story of David versus Goliath from the ancient past is about a young man, David, facing off against the unbeatable giant, Goliath. While Goliath was decked out in armor and deadly weapons, David took an unusual tool to fight his enemy. What weapon did David use against the giant?
Oh.
I'm having recollections to a story where they tripped over the giant and pinned them down with spikes and string, or am I thinking of something completely different?
That would be Gulliver's Travels, but
that was
close.
That's okay. That's completely the wrong. Okay.
So this is little David, little boy David.
I want to say it was like a flute or something.
Yes, he played music to him to death.
David did play a musical instrument.
He threw his flute at the giant's head and knocked him clean over.
It is. Do you guys want a hint?
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you a hint.
It was a pod shot. No.
It is. It is. Wait, what's a hint? What's a good hint?
You can't say you want a hint. I don't.
I really want these guys to get their money. It is a long-range weapon. We'll call it that.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a long-range weapon.
It's a weapon that's not used too commonly today.
It's because he couldn't reach his head, because he was so tall.
I actually don't even think
bow?
this.
Kind of a bow.
He went to the giant, did his hair, and tied a bow on.
A what? A what?
Slingshot?
Oh, he used a sling and a stone. Knocked him out. And he cut his head off, and they all partied. It was a good time. Good job, GG. 3 out of 3. Nicely done. Beautiful work.
I'm not really liking this question because I don't get to really, work my magic on. So I'm going to.
You can figure it out. I'm
gonna be a little flavorful for. Where does the word podcast come from?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Where does the word podcast come from?
It's kind of a, I would totally answer it comes from the dictionary. I'm going to make it a little more technical. What is the origin of the word podcast?
Or maybe even more technical. What is the origin of the word pod in podcast?
Or maybe more technical. Where does the letter P originate?
We're going to forget the question again.
So, because I know cast probably comes from broadcast, something like that.
Very good. Yes. Half a point to team. What would you be? Gryffindor?
Yeah.
Call you Gryffindor.
But would it be pods because they were separated? It'd be people from different places in the country?
Very interesting answer.
Absolutely incorrect, but very interesting answer.
Yeah. I'll give you one more chance because there's 2 of you on your team. You guys can discuss if you'd like.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Podcast.
Here's a hint.
Wow.
Yeah,
another hint.
I want you to pay
It is
up.
a weapon.
It's not.
Not used today at long range.
Long range weapon. No, it's a device. It's a device.
That used to kill giants.
Popular device. Although maybe you guys are too young for this device. I don't know.
iPod?
Oh, ding! Very well done.
It's like
iPod.
357 million.
I'm not giving them anything. This is you.
That's
it's Canadian money. I'm
$20 American. Okay.
Good job. iPod cast. That's what podcast comes from.
Okay.
Yep. Final question. For the win and 357 million Canadian dollars. Many theropods were giant reptiles.
Giant. See what he did there? Giant.
Well, not just giant, but theropods.
Theropods.
Reptiles of the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods.
Parks.
Named for being wild beasts of prey with 3 toes on their feet. Pod means feet. Name any one of the popular species of dinosaurs that was a theropod.
Raptor?
That's a basketball player.
Oh.
I'm drawing a blank on dinosaurs in general.
Yeah.
For the
Assume
win.
T-Rex isn't. That's the obvious one.
Why are you assuming it isn't? Because it's the obvious one?
The obvious one? We could try T-Rex. I have no idea.
Is that your final answer?
Tyrannosaurus Rex? If we've got nothing
Good
else.
job!
Okay.
Yes!
Every
Good,
week.
good. The crowd goes wild. You guys are going to be rich.
I am
Get
almost
that money.
positive Canada doesn't have $357 million of the entire country.
I'm going to hold you to that Q magnet.
You will get a complimentary igloo, snowmobile,
You're going to have a hockey
13
puck.
Huskies.
One of those curling. What is the curling thing? A curl. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the thing you do your hair with.
Yeah. He knows what I'm talking about. He's being obtuse right now. And thank you for playing Void Frogs Trivia. You guys got 5 out of 5. I'm so proud of you. It doesn't matter that we gave you hints, okay? All right? It doesn't.
No.
We
Where do we
give
claim
all
our
of
money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money. Fill out this form. I have a Nigerian prince friend. He just needs to get your info so he can send it to you in Canadian dollars.
That's it. Really appreciate having you guys on here. This has been
Thanks for
a
having
good
us.
time.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Learning a lot and also getting to geek out for a moment, talk about some stuff and licensing and all this. I love it. I love it.
Hey, are you guys looking for help on the project? We never really did say that.
That's
Yeah, we're accepting help.
We're always looking for
How
help.
would someone like say I want to join the team? How would they do that?
I'd say
So-
first of all, reach us on the Discord chat.
Mhm.
Would probably be the first place to reach out to us, and then we can give you hints on what could be you could work on, and then we can give you pointers from there.
Yeah.
So like, okay,
Or
on the
what he's working on.
21st day of this month in 1964, you look in a calendar, and the first letter is this. On page 256 of the Oxford Dictionary from 1985, the second letter is this, and they have to put it all together.
What
and
are
they
you
find-
talking about?
He said
right now?
hints. That was the hints.
What are you saying?
Hints. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So join your Discord. Say, hey, okay, here, if you can handle.
Are you guys running it like an open source project so that people can make pull requests and all that if they want to? Okay.
yeah.
All the code is publicly available on GitHub. Anyone can look at it.
So if you
We
don't
also
know,
have a-
go
we
ahead.
also have a development channel that you can just you can't talk in it. It's just for people who James and I, but it's public to view, so people can hop on and see what we're discussing, and then we have an Amulet general that you can input on what we're talking about. You can have a conversation in a different channel, and we check that and like take input as well from there.
Excellent. So if you don't understand what GitHub is, or commits, or pull requests, or push, or anything like that, or go look. We got the link to the GitHub page, the repository down in the description below. Go check that out. Look at what they're doing, and join their community, and then talk to them. Just get to know them and learn that stuff. Learn. If you don't understand GitHub, you're gonna have a problem.
I have a problem. I already have a problem.
I still don't understand what you were talking about.
I know what GitHub is. It's like, hey, you want a hub? Go get it.
That's
Go get your hub.
Man, I'm impressed by you today. So good. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I would love to geek out some more, but unfortunately, it is time for us to go. It took us 40 minutes just to get the episode start recording.
I was ready. The rest of them took forever.
That's right.
Hey, here's a completely random question I just thought of. If somebody has to follow you on social media, where would be the best place to follow you? Why don't you start, Gentle Giant?
I'm on Twitter on gentlegiantJGC, and you can come talk to me on the Amulet Discord server. I think that's about
the
it.
address you guys can't remember.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Links in
You're-
the show notes in the YouTube description.
You also have a YouTube channel and a website, but we'll
I
put
do.
links
There's
to those in the description.
If you want, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And Podshot?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Podshot _. The underscore is important.
What happened?
Oh no, I couldn't grab the normal one.
This is the failure of the random generator.
Good
Yeah.
There you
But,
go. Should've looked it up.
Yeah, you can follow me there. Same on the Discord. I'm Podshot at Podshot, and YouTube channel's the same thing. I don't really I haven't posted anything in like years, so
No.
Yeah, neither.
Come on, man. Seriously. I'm still waiting for Carnival Games Part 2. Where's the
I'd like to
bearded
see-
woman completely done in vanilla Minecraft?
I'll
I'd
get
like
that
to
done after Amulet.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to see more development live streams or little video clips.
I'm
It'd be fun,
hoping
guys.
to maybe start that up again, but it's
It'd be fun.
a time issue. So
Yeah.
Time issue.
How about following Amulet-Editor itself? What's the best place to go and get involved in that community?
probably our Twitter. It's at Amulet_Editor. That's where we
What
post.
underscores?
Hey, we like them.
He loves
But we retweet both tweets from James and myself on sneak peeks at what's coming down the line, as well as every time we do an update, we tweet out stuff, and that Twitter account's mainly retweeting James, but that's where we post updates.
Cool.
Mainly James. I see.
And then you have, if people want to like download, there's GitHub. They can go to Amulet not underscore, but -editor.com. And anything else coming up? Anything else I'm missing?
I believe that's all.
Do you guys have a
for-
MySpace?
No.
Oh,
I guess we need to if we want to be official, right?
true. True.
Very
MySpace.com/_pod_gentle
Yep.
_amulet_majestic.com.
Yep. All hail the Almighty. Or
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Ben, James, really appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, your project is exciting, to say the very least. And I can't wait to use it and like on actual projects that I want to launch.
Hey, when's MC getting updated for 1.13, guys?
Oh, yeah. Check Amulet.
All
Great
right.
question.
Wait.
Thank you all for listening. In today, shout out to all you YouTube live premiere people. You guys have been awesome over there. If you want to connect with us,
Yeah, it
you
must
can
be nice
do
to be
so
there.
at thevoidfrogs.com.
Some people have to work.
Or that's QMagnet, or thevoidfrogs.com/Discord. You can listen to us, subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And there might be another one I can't remember right now. Or you can follow us at twitter.com/ The Void Frogs. We're not on ICQ. Thank you all very much for listening today. You all have a beautiful week. Go check out Amulet.
Go check out a mullet.
Down in the description. Follow these guys.
Yep.
Keep up with their development stuff, and we will see you all next Friday. Void Frog Fridays. Thank you all.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay.
That's my line. I say the peace.
What is this? Why are you saying that's peace? That's two. Two.
Peace. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace is like you chop your finger off. That's a piece. A piece of your finger.